talk about, not a team, but a player who certainly looks to be on the rise in Jesse Lingard at Manchester United. I'm going to try not to talk about Manchester United players every single episode of the podcast, but I feel with the weeks running out in this season, you're only going to get a few more chances to talk about a player like Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
So, how would you appraise his season so far? What has he surprised you? How have you read his performances?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you probably take much of a bigger notice than Lingard being a United fan. I think what's...
I'm a football fan.
Well, I'm a football fan. Biased. I think what's really noticeable this season is he is just being very impressive and really stamping his authority on a game. I always saw Lingard as that player who maybe just scored a big goal, like, in an FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
But he never really had any sustained period of success over an actual course of a season.
Yeah.
I think at the start of this season, his counter-attacking play came into play, didn't it? I remember Mourinho playing him a lot away from home.
Yeah, that's true.
The Emirates game stands out. I thought it was absolutely fantastic in that game.
Best performance he's put in a United shirt, I think.
And I thought, okay, so he's a counter-attacking player. He's since transcended into... It seems as though he's like on the first team sheet now for Mourinho.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. Which is, no mean feat when you buy Alexis Sanchez.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Matter, who was a British record transfer fee for United when he was signed from Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's really, really good going. Anthony Martial for the money that they paid for him. I think it's been incredible. You mentioned the Arsenal game and you mentioned stamping his authority on games, and that to me has been the biggest thing. I've always thought of Jesse Lingard as a pre-season player. A couple of years ago, he would light up pre-seasons for United. He was top scorer in multiple pre-season tournaments in Southeast Asia and in the Middle East and in any far-flung corner of the world. Jesse Lingard would be tearing it up on tour for Manchester United. But the pressure was off then, and he was showing the quality that he has, but he wasn't necessarily being able to transfer it to big games on big stages against far better players than, with all due respect, than to Guangzhou Evergrande or whoever it is that Manchester United are playing.
Was that with goals or assists? Or
just goals.
Everything?
Just goals. He was a goal scorer. He was playing second striker, really, not a dissimilar position to the one that he's been deployed in this season.
Yeah.
Recall his loan move to Birmingham. He had a couple of loan moves, but his one to Birmingham sticks out because of the debut that he had. It's one of the best debuts I think any Championship player's ever had. He scored 4 goals in his first game, and watching that game, even if you just watch the highlights of that game or read the quotes of these Birmingham players who were on the same pitch as him, you just realise that there was a huge divide in terms of quality between Jesse Lingard and his teammates, and I think that would have been a massive confidence boost. It can often knock your confidence being shipped out on loan when you feel like a Premier League player. Your identity is a Manchester United player because you've been there for years and years and years, and you've come through the academy. I think once you can if you do take a step down and realise how much better you are than everyone in this new small pond, let's say, I think that's a great confidence boost to bring you straight back up and think, okay, so when I do get the chance, when this loan expires, I'm going to make sure I do make my mark on this first team.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd season in a row that he's played more than 40. That he's played 40 games. Sorry. And the turning point to me was scoring that winner in the FA Cup final. Yeah. Against Crystal Palace. Once he did that, he didn't stamp his authority on that game, but he made a mark on the game insofar as he won. He won the game. He won the FA Cup.
Yeah. So he scored the winner, hasn't he?
Yeah. Once that's been done, you start to feel as though you can influence the entire game because your confidence grows. And you know that people will look at you now. And these don't need to be opponents. These can be your teammates. They'll look at you and think, that's Jesse, and he will score the winner in the FA Cup final. And we were all there. We saw what he could do. I remember I think Ibrahimovic got a lot of the headlines in the Community Shield game against Leicester. It was his first goal in a competitive game for United. But I think Jesse Lingard's goal gets grossly overlooked in that game. It's a phenomenal solo goal. I followed it up with another goal in a big game in the final of the EFL Cup. Again, Ibrahimovic took the headlines, fortunately or unfortunately. But again, it's increasing the influence on these massive games. And this season he's been enormous. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. You're definitely right about him being a counter-attacking player, though. How do you see him improving on this next season?
Well, speaking of confidence boost, he's obviously a massive figure in the England setup now, moving into a World Cup summer.
Definitely.
He was in both of Gareth Southgate's friendlies against the Netherlands and Italy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that will have done for his confidence moving forward from here?
Yeah, a lot. I think a lot. Particularly when we, not just you and I, but English football fans in general and the English media have bemoaned the lack of quality for England this time round. And we always do since we've lost Gerrard, well, we've not lost them, since Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Rooney have retired. We've bemoaned the lack of quality in midfield and in attack. I think Jesse Lingard will look around at the players that he's competing with for these positions and he'll see Raheem Sterling and think, big game player. I respect that. I don't need to go toe-to-toe with Sterling because there are enough positions for everybody. As far as top players go, Harry Kane, I don't think he'll be too fussed about competing with Harry Kane. But I think after those two, he'll look at himself and think, I could be in the top 3 players in this team.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be too fussed about Dele Alli, having put in a tremendous performance against Chelsea. Jesse Lingard scored the winner against Chelsea. Jesse Lingard put in a doubly good performance against Arsenal at the Emirates. I don't think he'll be worried about Ali. I think he'll look at Oxlade-Chamberlain and think, I can get the nod ahead of you.
Yeah.
So I think it's looking good for him.
And I mean, I don't think he is worried about Ali because he wasn't part of the England setup of getting those 2 friendlies, were
No, that was telling.
Lingard must obviously think, okay, the boss loves me here. If I can just carry on being consistent until the end of the season, I'd seem as though I'm a shoo-in to start in the World Cup, which is an absolutely phenomenal achievement for him.
It is, definitely.
Because, it wasn't... to me, he wasn't a guaranteed starter in those 2 friendlies. I don't know what you thought, but I think, from my perspective, I definitely thought that Ali was going to be given a game in at least one.
Yeah, for sure.
So, for Lingard to be picked in both games, he was one of very few players who was actually picked for both games as a starter.
Yeah, fact.
So, yeah, his confidence must be absolutely through the roof. I guess from my perspective, maybe I haven't seen him on the biggest stage deliver in the Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
He hasn't quite hit that stage yet, has he? Who do you think he's probably challenging in terms of other players who play in his position? Who do you think he would be looking to, thinking, okay, I want to try and emulate their form. I want to kind of be recognised as, if not as good, maybe better than moving into next season.
In his position at United or in his position
in the league?
I'd say he probably wants to be somewhere between Eden Hazard and Christian Eriksen. I'd say for the position that he plays, he's not a winger. I think he was probably mistakenly put on the wing in his first 20-30 league games for United under Van Gaal. Put in some reasonably good performances, but I don't think it's his position. I think you mentioned counter-attacking, and he's quick enough and good enough at getting away from opponents that he can do it in the centre of midfield, particularly on the counter. I would probably say, he wants to be somewhere. He probably wants to angle for Eden Hazard. I know we had a bit of a whine about Eden Hazard last week, and he's not hitting the heights that we think he's good enough to hit. But he's certainly still better than Jesse Lingard in terms of overall career. I would say that Lingard wants to aim for that because Hazard is just a guy who'll pick up the ball whenever. He never seems to be scared until it comes to Barcelona. And let's give Jesse Lingard the benefit of the doubt when it comes to playing against sides like that, because he simply hasn't, he hasn't played them in competitive football matches yet. I would say he needs to aim for Eden Hazard and he needs to aim for Christian Eriksen, just as far as influence on a game goes. And then we can see where we go. Yeah,
I think I fully agree. One of the very start things about him is how slight he is as a person.
It's very strange to see, isn't it?
He's such a unique football player, isn't he, in terms of like his actual stature. He's not. He doesn't have the powerful physique that Hazard has. He doesn't look anywhere near as imposing as what Christian Eriksen does. And I'm not saying Eriksen is an imposing player, but if you compare the two players, I guess Lingard is still young, and maybe there's time to develop that. But
possibly,
it does definitely seem to suit this style of his, this counter-attacking kind of speed. One touch, and just his ability to beat a player in the centre of the pitch is very telling. And I think as long as he can give himself a good World Cup this summer, moving forward into next season, it looks as though there's some good times ahead for Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens in the World Cup. It'll be interesting to see, with his underwhelming performances, to say the least, in the Champions League this season, it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to being on the big stage in front of the cameras, where there's no hiding place in the World Cup, particularly when you're one of the best players on the pitch, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure as far as he's concerned. So yeah, should be interesting enough.